अपवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थांगतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षा स्वाभ्यन्तरशुचिः श्री विष्णु पवित्रो अपवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थांगतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षा स्वाभ्यन्तरशुचिः पुण्डरीकाक्षाय नमः। श्री विष्णु
Set up Maharaj here. Maharaj. Testing 1, 2, 3. So, in Upanashamrita, text number 1234555 says, Krishneti yodhya giritam manasavariya dikshasti anatavishtavashitam isham shushushaya vajana vigna ananya anyanindani sujavadimatsita sankalapya. So, Rupa Goswami is the basic principles for everything. Everything else is built upon Upanashamrita, related to it. So he's describing Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, Adhikari. And Prabhupada was talking about Harinam Diksha, chanting of the holy names, initiated into chanting of the holy names like that. And then he actually says, actually initiated, spiritually initiated. So one time, Prabhupada was in Italy. He was talking to one professor of Indology, and nice person, a little proud of his knowledge. He's asking Prabhupada about the technicalities of our movement in terms of Vedic culture, and he says, are you giving Diksha to your disciples? He says, yeah. And he says, to the girls also? He says, yes, also to the women. And he says, we give Harinam Diksha, okay, too. And when we see that the disciples are, microphone being adjusted. Haribo, testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Phone's going off. Hare Krishna. One book's there. Yeah, that was a little loud. Do you have any echo? It's terrible. I don't think I can reduce the volume with the earphones. Okay, yeah. Okay. I roll. Yeah. So then Prabhupada says, but when we see that the disciples are actually properly advanced, then we give them real initiation, actual initiation. But then he says that, but Jiva Goswami says, in this age, Harinam Diksha is sufficient. Right? You don't have to take the formal Vedic, Gayatri initiation, these kind of things. So Harinam Diksha is sufficient if you follow it. Yeah, yeah. If you go on chanting 16 enthusiastic rounds every day and follow the four principles strictly, yeah, then you're guaranteed to come to the platform of Uttama Adhikari. Yeah. And beyond that, and after you go to Vaikuntha, okay, well, now you're no longer discriminating between matter and spirit. Everything is spirit, But yeah, which spirit? Because there's so many different choices and options. And sometimes you go to a big festival or you go to Vrindavan and it's just like, so many spiritual things happening. So what do? You chant. Okay, so the Mahamantra will also guides us, after liberation, after these things. And Mahamantra goes all the way to Goloka. I guess the Gayatri, the Klam Gayatri. So that's, second initiation is more or less a formality. One other place it says the second initiation is acknowledgement by the spiritual master that the disciple is, become fixed in the mode of goodness. Shren Batam, Swakapala, Krishna, Shravana Kirtana, it's pious activity just by itself. Always mentioned one devotee, whose name was Bhakta David. He was an alcoholic. Yeah. But he described that he was coming to the temple in Dallas for basically 1 year, And he would basically he would get like when sometimes for a festival or things like that, they have these people, they come and help set up the events. Thunderdome or something like that. So he was taking, like, people would call him up and he would take his contract work and get some money, and live in some kind of strange place. But basically, he was living in a bar. They would sold beer, and they had free pretzels and peanuts, right, for people. And so basically, during the week, he was living on beer, pretzels, and peanuts. I have in the university, one professor told us you can live on beer, pretzel, and peanuts for a long time before you die. 20 years or something. It's like before you'll die. And there was sawdust on the floor for people, vomiting or something. So he was living there and had his friends and his associates. And once a week he would go to the Sunday feast in the temple in Dallas. And then he would have like maybe 4 or 5 plates of prasadam or something, just once a week, and all the prasadam. But he had a little bit of agyata sukriti. It's like when we go out dressed like this. We were talking about it. Went to the post office. And I went up, and the lady's kind of looking at me, and I kind of smiled, and she smiled. Okay, he's not going to jump over the counter and something strange. And then we asked about buying stamps, and she was trying to help us. So that's agyata sukriti, right? And just by doing that, she's got, so unconsciously she's acquired some kind of credits, which when she dies, she'll remember that. And maybe next birth and different opportunities. So different levels, so many levels. Okay. So then he was going, and he had a little bit of some kind of pious credit. So he felt guilty about going just to eat. Seemed unfair. Okay, I should go and sit through their music and their hymn singing and their prayer meeting. So he was there for 1 year taking prasadam, going through the Sunday feast lecture and the kirtan. And after 1 year, his mind said to him, he told me this, he said, David, yeah, what is it? Yeah. What are they talking about, David? So after 1 year, how many lectures is that? 52 lectures, okay. And finally, you find it's described. In the beginning, there's Shravana Dasha, and Shravana next stage is where it starts to, sink in. You're not just doing it, you're not just hearing and chanting, but now it starts to come booty, what do you call it, Shmarna. So he said he was listening, and the first thing he figured out was that the devotees believed in reincarnation. That was the second thing. The first thing was he realized that the food was vegetarian. Maybe you're a little more conscious than this. A lot of people like this. They can function by in society, get a job, do the work, and some employers like their employees to be like this, right? And the guy was doing it every day. For 8 hours, and goes home. My God, these people are vegetarian, right? There's no meat in the food. That's right. What else do they believe? You know? And then he realized that devotees believe in reincarnation. My God, this is really strange. And wow, it's really strange. Well, I'm not going to come back here anymore. This guy's vegetarian, they believe in reincarnation, but the food's really good, you know. And maybe I will be a cockroach next one lifetime in the same bar, and then I get free beer. So yeah, he came like it was describing, and then he never took initiation, you know, like that. But I think he did pretty well. He was, you know, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's another organization like Iskcon. Yeah, and so many things are similar. They talk about Brahman, you know, the spirit and this stuff. But if you want to go into a specific religion, then you can form the Alcoholics Anonymous group. There was an Alcoholics Anonymous group in the temple in Los Angeles for Vietnam veterans, you know, who had a lot of experiences, which, you know, if we go through those, we would say, tell you have a right to drink. It's like, you know, have another one, just hearing about it, I'll take one. I mean, unbelievable things you go through and stuff. So you just, well, I'll just forget about it. You can't forget about it. Talk about it. You know, there's World War II veterans, pilots, you know, they're describing things. Say, what is it? 60 years later, he said, I still have to wake up with those things. It's something you can't forget. Okay, so we're dealing with very, very deep problems, not just subtle ones. So anyway, then but he would recommend so many people go to the Hare Krishna temple, and this is great, and this and that. So he was guru. What kind of guru? Yeah, Paparashika guru. Yeah, it's okay. So Prabhupada can do that job, and Martin David could do the job, and so on. And then once people come to the temple, okay, you know, no shraddha, and they no shraddha, no faith. Hey, I'm going to go there, I'll try it out, but if it's not nice, I won't go again. Well, people are not bad and stuff, and I want to hang out with these people some more. And their charya, you know, he's the leader, that guy, he appears to be pretty solid. I've heard different leaders, but okay, so no shraddha.
Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya.
The Bhajana Kriya, the work of Bhajana. Now becomes, you start asking, well, isn't there some way to chant like, isn't there a process? I chant sometimes, I don't chant sometimes. No, you got to get up and chant like this. And, you know, basic process is there. Upadeshamrita Prabhupada says, in this movement, we require everyone to rise by 4 o'clock in the morning before Mangala Arati or morning service, read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform kirtan, etc. Yeah. So this is a requirement. If you're not satisfying the requirements, how can you complain that you're not getting the result? Yeah, you can go on chanting for 15 years and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not making any progress. Must be chanting. You're getting the, yeah. So Harinam Diksha is you know, the first process. Might say Sambandha. Okay. I'm looking for a job. Okay. Yeah. So I did my resume many places, and after a few weeks, I get a letter or something from the Bank of Piggy, or something. the Bank of Richmond, Bank of Virginia. Okay, a little bigger. The Bank of Virginia says we saw your resume, and if you want to work for us, we can hire you. Go to 27th Main Street in Central Virginia at 3 o'clock and go to room 14. Okay. So that's Sambandha. They pay, I work. Okay. Am I going to be a security guard? Am I going to go into administration? Am I going to information management? Am I going to be a cashier? Am I going to be in publicity? I don't know. But I know that in all those positions, they pay, I work. So Sambandha, Krishna is God, I am his servant. One man wanted to be, Prabhupada was giving a lecture in a small temple on Frederick Street, whatever it is there, the old one. And devotees said there was so one fellow coming, he was dressed well and, came in a tie and stuff. And Prabhupada said, okay, tomorrow we'll be having a ceremony called Diksha, initiating, and you're all welcome to come and attend, and join for the disciples who will be initiated. And the person said, Swamiji, can I also be initiated? And the devotees were thinking Prabhupada would say, well, you should come a little longer, understand the philosophy and these kind of things, because you've just been coming sometime. And Prabhupada said, yes, you can be initiated, but you must answer two questions. Okay? Who is Krishna? Okay. He wasn't so educated. No, he kind of thought for a moment. He isn't coming here for time. And he said, he's God. He's the Supreme Lord, the controller, the controller. Prabhupada said, yes. Second question is, who are you?
I'm servant.
Yeah. So the guy kind of this was in front of Prabhupada, everything else, and the person is asking the question is simple. Yeah, so he understood. Krishna is God and I am his servant. That's Sambandha. We're connected. Okay. He said, yes, you can be initiated tomorrow. Okay. So first initiation, I think in some ways Prabhupada raised the standard for first initiation for us and lowered the standard for second initiation compared to general devotee and not standard and so on. Yeah. Okay, he's an acharya. But basically that's it. In Harinam Diksha, and Prabhupada's talking Upadesha, Rita text number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in that sense. But he says when we see that the people are actually serious and so forth and so on, Diksha Stiche Pranatavisha Vajitam Isham. If there's Diksha, which he's thinking is second initiation for us, Chavajitam Isham, and engage in worshiping Isha. Isha, Prabhupada translate Isha as the deity. The deity. Yeah. So second initiation is when you're qualified to go on the altar to do deity worship. Yeah. And generally it's for Dvija. Prabhupada after one initiation ceremony, Prabhupada says, Jayatam Dvijate, all glory to the twice born. Yeah. So that means Brahmana, Kshatriya, higher class Vaishya. Vaishyas fall in two categories. Vaishyas are actually mixed ignorance and passion. So the Rothschilds, Henry Ford, and Donald Trump would be like, higher class with employees, or almost Kshatriyas like that. So Bill Gates, you should take second initiation. The other guys who have a small store and argue with people and this and that, and, that's so regulated. And Shudra is okay. Yeah. So Dvija is for all these people. I have one disciple. He was very qualified guy from the previous thing as a bhakta and everything else. Then he was initiated and very quickly became basically temple president, but he was vice president. So everybody was saying you should take second initiation. I agree. He wasn't Brahmanically inclined, but very much, organizing people, taking care of them and stuff. So yeah, you should be second initiation. It doesn't mean just Brahman. Brahman Kshatriya Vaishya. Yad Yadacharati Shrestas, right? Tadariva to Janaha. So if you're wearing one of these threads, then people coming in and look around, they should be able to recognize, okay, those are the leader guys. What is their comportment? How do they act? How do they talk to people? How ladies and men relate to other eating? Yeah. So if you're going to take second initiation, you better be ready to be an example. And so someone like Jayananda, who was not setting like he wasn't in Mangalartik all the time. His Brahmin sweat was black from automobile grease. Yeah. And but if you checked it out internally, you could see, this guy is way beyond second initiation, third, fourth, fifth, or something like that. And he was, again, like I mentioned, I mentioned here or not, he wasn't in Mangalarti because he was going out to the produce lot. He'd grab a couple boxes to go with him. They would sing the Gurvastika maybe better than the temple, get the sheets and stuff. So everything was there. he had a full morning program, everything else, but he could just do it spontaneously. So, but other than that, if you're going to walk around with a Brahmin sweat on, then you should be, you have to be an example for people in terms of these kind of things, even though it's like, a little bit of formality and interfering with your service. So it's kind of basic idea, It's a formality, Prabhupada says, but not a meaningless formality. Again, the marriage, all the different aspects of it, and when the boy and girl hold hands, what happens? Something happens, right? Half the bodies are shifted at that time. In America, you introduce your wife, well, this is the better half, right? In Spanish, you say, la otra mitad de la naranja, the other half of the orange. Same cultural realization. So holding hands is a big deal. In India now, the boys and girls hold hands. No, I'm talking to people. Still, it's like they still realize. I got okay. Wow, another full set. They still realize that this is a big deal. Holding hands with somebody is a big deal. It is. It's a big deal. So these are rituals, but not without meaning. Carl Jung, when he took initiation, what's it called, baptism, he expected something to happen. It didn't happen. And so that's one reason he kind of thought that the church he was involved in didn't have the potency. Because the rituals happen, there should be something. So it's kind of like a little summary today. So many other details. You go on reading the Prabhupada's books, you see him mentioning so many things about this and so on. So any koi prashna? Yes.
Like you said,
Wait a second, I'm hearing it up here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah.
So you told about this qualities we have to have. We have to be an example.
Yeah.
What are the qualities as a Brahman we have to imbibe ourselves in so that we can go deep in our spiritual life?
Okay. Bhagavad Gita describes in chapter 18 the qualities of a Brahmana. Now, do you know the Sanskrit? Sama, Dhamma.
Out.
I can't keep myself quiet. Sama Dhamma, Taposocham, Shanta Arjam, Evacha, Gyana Vijnana, Astakam, Brahma Karma, Swabhavaja. Hansa Buddha said you can't take second initiation unless you know that first. If you're a Brahmana, you should just. Yeah, so it's right there in Bhagavad Gita. Sama Dhamma Taposocham, Shanta Arjam, Evacha, Gyana Vijnana, Astakam, Brahma Karma, Swabhavaja. Equanimity, peacefulness, religiosity, knowledge and wisdom. Those qualities. I can summarize it as how you're following the four principles again. No illicit sex. Well, joking with the opposite sex. If you see your husband during a big festival over there joking with some other woman, it's like, no, she's talk and so on, but you don't have a yell going on. That's subtle. It's subtle. Again, different people are at different levels. Prabhupada says that one girl comes in a dance sari, for some festival program, and she gets up there and covers her face, dancing like that. So the Bengali phrase is, "You came to dance, uncover your head and dance." Yeah, but that's not for the mayor's wife. And the mayor's wife has to, I know girls that are, you've got married guys who are big social position, they feel they wanted to be nuns and live in a little room with nothing, and now they have to have all these saris and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just, I gotta do it because I'm married to this guy and he has political influence, and his wife's gotta look like a rich man's wife. Who's that? It's my wife. She's wearing my whole sari. Yeah. Okay. What's his name? Hare Krishna Maharaj. One of his standards for second initiation of her was a second initiation, you had to be able to cook khichdi and halwa and lead the entire morning program from memory. Yeah. So different standards. So anyway, I can ask a question. Yeah. What is it now? There's a phrase in law. It's a Latin phrase. I forgot what it is. Which basically says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace." Yeah. My son eating fruit in bed. Okay, so then we'll go ahead now with the fire sacrifice and we'll see if our priest is qualified to be a human sacrifice. Swami says after the sacrifice, the body is changed.
Diksha kale, bhakta kare, atma samarpana. Nothing but
Okay. So Prabhupada ki
Jai. Sri Hanumat Presaka Maharaj ki Jai. So we'll start the ceremony by offering a simple abhishek to the Shaligraamji, Radharamanji, followed by inviting Agni Dev, and then we'll do the fire sacrifice. So we can do the kirtan. It's kirtan.